Hey guys, it's me, Nicolette Mashile, also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. I'm sure you can hear from my voice, I am struggling, okay? I'm really struggling. Guys, I literally went to a dry run on Wednesday, and when I came back from the dry run, I was so cold, but I didn't know what was wrong. And then Thursday when I woke up, like throughout Wednesday night, I was sweating. You know, my bed was like wet, like it was drenched with sweat. I still didn't know what was wrong. Thursday when I woke up, had no voice and I was struggling. So I think I've got a very bad case of flu. However, I am still alive. And it actually made me think of something. It made me think, oh my goodness, if I die today, because y'all know I'm very dramatic. So when I get sick, the first thing I think of is, oh my goodness, I'm actually going to die. And now I was worried that I'm going to die, but I don't have my will actually lodged or whatever it's called, So I've had one of the banks draft my will, but I haven't finalized it, haven't actually signed it, right? So I got a little scared and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to pull my will right now and fix it. This was last night. But thinking about the wills and just thinking about some of the reasons I hear people don't have a will for, I'm here to remind you and to maybe perhaps try to explain just a little bit better, maybe through storytelling, as to why it's important to have a will. So I know this one person who they moved to Johannesburg with their partner. Fine. So they moved to Joburg with the partner and they fall in love with this partner. And the partner is slightly a little bit older than the person. And the partner is quite a well-known person in the country, right? So they're living in Johannesburg. They move in together because they really, really are in love. And the partner decides that he wants to write a book. So showcase, Upalali Pugu, he's writing a book and Ugele is contributing. She is helping with writing the book. She's doing research. And the partner says, okay, it's fine. We will share in the proceedings of the sale of this book. So the lady says, okay, fine. What I will then pay for is the design of the cover. I'll pay for the barcodes. I will organize for the registration of the ISBN. I will also start talking to a PR company and, of course, the distributors in terms of how we're going to distribute this book. Obviously, it's your book, it's your story. But I want to be an equal partner, and I want it to be published under my imprint. The gentleman is like, it's no problem, happy with that, happy for you to do that. But obviously also living together and being so in love, they've traveled, so they've collected things from other countries. There's so many things that they've done together, so many items that they've bought together. Maybe I think the partner was the one who was swiping all the time. But these are things they bought together. And I think it's important to make sure that we're very clear on the fact that these are things they bought together. But also in their late night conversations, your partner will have a conversation with you and say, in principle, I'm giving you certain things, So they'll give you certain things in the house. They'll say, this is yours. And even if I die, I want you to keep this to remember us forever. And I think also you as the other partner, you want that. So it just so happens that this partner did not tell his family about Ugel. So they don't know about this lady. They know he's in a relationship, but they've never really met her. They're not married. So essentially, they are fatting and sitting, right? Fat and sit, cohabiting. And of course, there's legalities to be able to assist you in a cohabiting situation, right? However, if your partner does pass away, which happened in this case, the partner passed away, the family came from Ezlalini, they came from the homesteads, and they packed up their son's apartment, the apartment that these two people were sharing together. And out of respect, the girl moved out when he passed on, because obviously you've not been introduced to this family. So she moved out to give them space, but she didn't take everything that she thought she should take because she didn't think that far. I think when you're in grief, you're not thinking that far. So the family came, packed up everything. Now, even the small things, the sentimental things that this man would have loved to pass on to his partner, it's going to be difficult for him to pass on. Why? Because there's no will. There's no last testament of how he wants those things to be distributed. And it makes me think, there's this one photo frame in my family home, and it's of my mom and I, and it was after I failed my degree at Rhodes, and I got my first diploma at ETA. And it's a picture of myself and my mom. And I always say, of all of the things that I've gathered up, all the material things, all the things that are known as assets that I have, that is the one picture that if I die before my mom, I would love her to keep. I don't want it being left in the house. I like, if she dies, she must take it with her to the grave. If I die after her, I must take it to the grave. I don't want anybody else taking it, because we prayed for that qualification. We were on our knees. I had just failed my degree at Rhodes, and my entire existence felt like it was non-worthy. It was worthless. Not non-worthy, worthless. And we prayed for that diploma. So for me, that's a special thing. Now, of course, it's a non-monetary asset. It doesn't cost anything. So often what we find is that the definition of a will, or the explanation, is often in the terms of how to distribute your wealth, how to distribute your assets. But we know that it's not just monetary assets that need to be distributed. It is also assets that have and hold sentimental value to people. It is a chair. It is an old beat-up car that you used to drive around with your father, your late father, that you would love to be given to you. Even people would say, Nicolette and her dad used to ride in this car. But when your father passes on, people want to fight you for that thing. Because your dad didn't write in the will to say, this specific thing, I wanted to go to this child. So it's important to write a will. And I know a lot of young people will say, I don't have assets. But remember, the 5 asset classes are equity market, which is the stock market, the bond market, commodities market, real estate market, and the most important one is cash. So even if you have a bank account that has money, that is an asset that needs to be distributed upon your death. So it's important to make sure that you draw up a will. You have to draw up a will, and it's got to be in alignment with the Wills Act. For it not to be contested, for it not to be challenged in court, you must make sure that your will is written and it actually is in alignment. You've got to nominate an executor that the master of the High Court can actually appoint. Very, very important. And it doesn't cost a lot of money. I know often a lot of the financial institutions who offer to draw up wills or draft wills on behalf of clients, they often offer this very freely and openly to people who are high net income clients. But the reality is you can draft your own will. And then you can go to a lawyer and seek for advice in terms of making sure, or somebody that works in estate planning, to make sure that it's in alignment with the Wills Act. But it is important to have a will. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're dying intestate. And that's when you die without a will. And now we've got another piece of legislation that has to step in, and that's called the Succession Act. That is to now come and decide who gets your stuff. That man that you didn't divorce, that woman that you didn't divorce, who's still legally married to you, but anikhulumisani, you're not talking to each other anymore. If you don't draft a will, that person may have a loophole to be able to get and have some of your assets and your wealth. So it's important to write the will, to make sure that the will is there. In September in South Africa, we have what is called Wills Week. And I hope that you took advantage of that, because death does not knock when it comes. Death sometimes just comes, and it's so sudden that you may not know what you're doing. Also in your will, be clear on some of your dates, so that your family members know, because you may find that you've got a life insurance policy that pays out, but it doesn't come and settle your date because people don't know some of your dates. Now assets are being sold to wind up, and it's just a mess. Make sure that you are putting your entire honesty, transparency in your will. But also remember, things like your pension fund don't go into your will. So there you have to nominate beneficiaries to be able to to benefit from your death benefit in your pension fund. So all of these things are very, very important, guys. They're very, very important. I'm going to try and keep it as short and sweet as possible because I can feel I'm straining my voice. But if you don't take anything from today, take the fact that you need to draw up a will. And as a young person, don't think that you don't have enough things. Especially the young person of today. We have so many sentimental assets and sentimental belongings that we want. Your clothes, for instance. If you are the type of person who you chow your fashion, and you want those clothes to be passed on maybe to your little sister, put it in the will. It's important. It's not a matter of people just saying, yo, show me, when you die, I want this and this and this of yours. No, it's about you being clear who you want to give it to. And also on the clarity one, I'll give you an example. In my home, my dad is Boang Mashile. My mom is Busisiwe Mashile. My sister is Bridget Mashile. They're all B Mashile. In my will, if I'm leaving any of those people anything, I cannot just write B Mashile. Which B Mashile? I need to write full names. I need to write ID numbers. It needs to be very clear who I'm saying. Now you've got family members fighting for assets because you are not clear, or contesting an entire validity of your will because of a small detail like that. So it is important to make sure that you are clear in your will as to who, what, how, and when. And it's going to be a lasting gift, especially if you've got minor children, because you want to make sure that those children are taken care of, and you nominate the person who's going to take care of them. And don't worry about executor fees. They're capped in this country. 3.5% before VAT. That's up to how much they can go to. So they're not going to try and scam you out of your estate. But just make sure that you give your family that lasting gift of drawing up a will. I'll see you guys on the next one. Do remember, nothing I say on this video constitutes as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please do speak to somebody that is certified and registered with the FSCA.